We've got the players this week, but as we alluded to earlier in the show, it was Akshay Bhatia who came out on top last weekend. What other takeaways did you have from the Arnold Palmer Invitational last week?
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned, like really impressive comeback. He can be a bit volatile, which is why I almost didn't bet on him to win. Like, I took, as soon as I saw that edge, I took him for top 5. And then it required someone chirping it up in the Discord to be like, we're going with Bhatia. I was like, you know what? All right, let's do it. We discussed his classic Sunday meltdown scenarios. But, I mean, since 2 missed cuts to open the season, he's finished T3, T6, T16, and now with a win. So he has rebounded from whatever was getting after him early season. And he should definitely be on a lot of radars going forward with that form. Not a whole lot going on for the pre-tourney picks from the Arnold Palmer. Henley was one of our top golfers to watch. He finished T6. Harry Hall was a huge 120-1 long shot. Also had the top 20 edge at plus 270. Talked about that. He finished T9. So a couple bright spots, just not really at the top of the board. Tommy Fleetwood, he was one shot away from getting into the top 20 on moving day. Proceeded to put on an absolute disaster class. I didn't even look where he ended up. He was second to last the last time I saw it, like plus 5, and that was the last I checked in on him. Wouldn't have cashed our top 20 parlay anyway because Rory withdrew before his 3rd round, but it spoiled any fun ladder plays on a guy who has been in really good form and the model has really enjoyed this season, but that's okay. He'll be back in the mix sooner than later, perhaps even this week. I would chalk that up to more of a hiccup than any real concerns moving forward for Fleetwood. But we move on to the unofficial 5th major, which is the Players at TPC Sawgrass. Massive $25 million purse on the line. Almost the entire top 50 of the top-ranked golfers and an iconic Pete Dye course. It is really no surprise why this is considered golf's unofficial 5th major. But I will say these days there is one big distinction between majors and non-majors, and that is the live golfers. So while this one has the allure of a major, the defectors will have to wait until the Masters to make an appearance on this show, which I am looking forward to. It does add a fun extra narrative, and our head-to-head parlays for the majors are usually live versus PGA matchups, so those always get a little extra competitive, even if you don't have a side, they're fun. But so yeah, major field, not quite a major though. And this place has been the home, TPC Sawgrass, and the home of it since 1982. So everybody who's golfed here before is familiar with the layout. Not a lot of changes over the years and over the most recent iterations. It's a 7,352 yard par 72. Offers a lot of high risk, high reward situations. Angled, dog-legged fairways require very careful tee shots. Misses are penalized pretty heavily. The rough is lush. Water is not necessarily in play, but it's basically adjacent to every single hole, most on tour. Second most bunkers on the tour. And it doesn't really reward any one particular style of play. Accuracy is, of course, very important, but power hitters have had success here. Short game kings have had success here. Rewards those who can play smart. But if you are looking for a single separating factor when, comparing odds or other guys in similar tiers, it would be approach play. Guys who set themselves up with good tee shots and then can kind of scramble from the rough if they get there, or shorten things up with the irons, are going to have a slight advantage. 122-man field, cut after 36 holes for the top 65 in ties. Should be some pretty good action this week. Just a couple of notable storylines before we dive into predictions. Rory withdrew before teeing off his 3rd round last weekend, as I mentioned, with a back injury. Believe that was related to some muscle spasms. He's plus 1,400 on the books. He's second in our predictions, but he's getting treated still, and he has not arrived yet. He's supposedly eyeing a Wednesday arrival. Seems unlikely he doesn't play, but it is something to monitor. He's the reigning champ here and one of only 2 guys who would be chasing Jack Nicklaus as the only 3-time winner of the event. And this event notably comes down to the wire. 5 of the last 6 decided by 1 shot or in a playoff. So don't be surprised if things comes down to the final hole and then some on Sunday in back-to-back weeks. So let's pull up the predictions here and see what the model has for us. Lots of value in this one, and for the sake of time, I am probably just going to highlight a couple guys, look at some long shots, 1 or 2 sleepers and golfers to watch, and then kind of leave the rest to everybody else to dig through the predictions. We'll have some more content on site, so there will be plenty of data from us anyway. But moving to the value, Scotty Scheffler obviously had his ups and downs this year by his standards anyway. He's 18% to win, was plus 500 at Open. He's down to about plus 450 or plus 480, depending where you look. But that is still a slim edge with fair odds at 450. It's notable to say these are the longest odds we've seen on Scotty all year. And he is plus money for a top 5 finish, something we have not seen all year. So I think there's a big spotlight on him this week, especially given his 2-time winning. He's the only other guy who won twice this year. I didn't mention that. I said there was one other. 2023 and 2024. So very recently. Also the 2 lowest scores since 1996 here. So if there might be an event for him to bounce back, it could be this one. Unfortunately, he's struggling on the biggest key factor here, which is approach. He's ranking 88th in the field, but otherwise he's been really good, practically flawless. He's got to snap out of it sometime. It's a place he's dominated, and at his best odds of the year, it does feel like a good spot to go after him. I will certainly be playing his top 5, if nothing else, because he's at plus money, and you basically never get that. He's usually over 50%, and it's a rare opportunity. So Russell Henley, he's 4th here in our overall predictions, also the 4th value on the board, 4.2% to win. Odds have also shortened up a bit. I found him 30 to 1 still on BetMGM, though. He's fair at plus 2280, so that's still a good value. Last week saw him finish T6 at the Arnold Palmer. Save for his miscut at the Genesis, he hasn't finished outside T19 and has 2 top 10s this year. This course feels a little bit like his white whale. He's got a dozen starts here, 6 missed cuts, though, 4 top 25s, and a personal best T13 in 22. Only 1 missed cut in his past 4 or 5, though, so he does seem to be getting a little better. Solid on approach play at 44th in the field this year. Very good 7th ranked in scrambling. All positive rankings around the green, which is somewhere you need to excel. Biggest hit to his game is the driving distance, but it's better to be accurate here than anything. And, maybe he doesn't win, but he's in some really good form, starting to improve sort of over the years here at this course. So it might be a good chance he pushes for his best finish, cracks the top 10. That would be plus 300 at 28% for a little bit of value there. Going slightly down to the next tier of golfers, got to look at Jake Knapp here. Where is he? Right here, 2.3% at 50 to 1, fair at plus 4250. He withdrew from last week's event before it started due to an illness, but if anything, that might be a little bit of a positive because, one, it's not an injury that's going to carry over to this week, and he got another week off, and he, not a guy who needed last week to get into form. He's got a T11, T5, solo 8, T8, and a solo 6 this year. Absolutely incredible stuff. He finished T45 in 2024 at the Players, T12 last year for a huge improvement. Ranked 2nd overall in strokes gained this season. Difficult to find really any negatives in his analytics, except his driving accuracy is a little under field average, but he's also the top ranked scrambler from the rough. So if he eats one into the rough, we're feeling pretty good on him correcting it and getting right back onto the green. So solid value here on a top 10 contender per the model. If you go even out down to top 20, look at him here at 35%, and he's 20 plus 220. Significantly better odds than every single golfer in this range. So pretty good stuff there. One more guy in this tier I want to look at. Actually about a tier down. A familiar name to this program, Harry Hall at 101.
Yeah, baby.
Another really big odds here. The guy is he's a bit of an enigma. He's weird rounds and whatnot. 1.8% to win, but that's fair again at 55 to 1. So a huge value. Climbed out of a first round 73 to finish 8 under in a T9 last week. Really good value in the placements, and he would have cashed top 20 and top 10. Similar spot here at 100 to 1. Will need to overcome his weaknesses, which are approach and dangerous tee shots. He's not a center of the fairway guy. He likes to live quite literally on the edge and see how close he can get. Missed the cut in back-to-back years here, but he is as low as plus 8,000. So seems like a good value, not only just on the model's probability, but a guy who's surprised a few times this year and has significantly lower odds elsewhere. Then just a couple golfers to watch here. Again, guys with no value, but should be on your radar for one reason or another. Colin Morikawa, because of his hot form, with a win, 7th place T7 and a solo 5th in 3 straight after opening with 2 cuts. He's 5th in approach play this season, but you're getting absolutely no value on him here at 2.2% and plus 2,200. Fair would be plus 4,400, but I would be shocked to see him not in contention come the final day. We do have him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top 7 guy for a top 20 finish, but even look at that, almost even money and only 37%. Just not a lot of value there. Might be a guy who you hope he starts off 1 or 2 holes poorly. You can get a better price on him live. Akshay Bhatia and Daniel Berger, the guys who went to the playoff last week, 4 top 20s, 3 straight, and 2 T9s here at this event for Daniel Berger. Ranks 11th on approach play this season. Might be mentally exhausted from losing a close one, but everything lines up really well for him here. Problem is there's absolutely no value here. He's way down here. I can't even locate him scrolling through here. He's like 0.3 to 0.5%, but he should definitely be on your radar. He's just had a lot of success at this event and is playing really well this year. And last week's champ, Akshay Bhatia, same probability as Harry Hall, half the odds. So he's at the fair price, more or less, that Harry Hall should be. Finished T3 here last year after missing the cut in 2024 on a run of 4 straight top 20 finishes. 3 of those are top 10s with a win this season. Off the tee game is full of red, well below field average, pretty much across the board when it comes to driving, but he's great everywhere else, especially scoring and approach play. Like I said, he's just a little short of fair, right about where you want him, and should be on your radar again. I don't know if he's going back-to-back. As a guy who only has 3 PGA Tour wins to his name, but should find himself, if things go well for him, he's been in some really good form, as we mentioned. Hoping to get some boosts again at Bet365. Keep your eyes out for those. I did submit them. I won't mention what they are because I don't want to, say anything that doesn't come to pass. But they are guys in here. One's a 2-leg top 20, and one is a guy to win with a boost. So hopefully we'll get those in. We'll be sure to post about that via articles and social if we do. As always, tons of other ways and markets to use this data for. Top 30s, top 40s. Make miscut parlays or sleepers, 3 balls, regional groups. It's up to you. Use these predictions. Use the head-to-head tool. You'll find some good nuggets every week.
Absolutely. More ways to bet golf than most sports. I mean, not that there aren't a lot of ways to bet sport, but you can jump on a tournament live. You can go matchups. You can go 3-ball. You can do round matchups, full tournament matchups, anything pre-tournament. There's plenty of ways to do it. And Dimers helps you do it all. There's a lot of great tools here that are unique in the way they function. The matchup tool is something I've been sending to all my friends. Literally, we had Cam Young over Min-Woo Lee on Sunday, and there was a 20% probability gap between Cam Young pre-tournament beating Min-Woo Lee. He was like 58% likely to win that matchup, and Min-Woo was 30-something, 36, and they were tied going into the final round. They were paired together. And I just screenshot sent to my boys like, hey, this is what we had pre-tournament. Like, this is a huge gap. They're paired together with the final. Let's go for it. And Cam Young ended up winning. He jumped out to an early lead and beat him by 1 stroke in the end. So it's a really fun way to bet. Dave does a bunch of work bringing our golf research for us every week, but it's all just sourcing a lot of the great resources that Dimers presents to you. It makes it really easy. Get Dimers Pro, promo code podcast, get 50% off when you do take advantage.